Hi everyone. It's the day 2 of my videos and I still miss you all. I still wish I was teaching you in person. But again, this is what we have to do for now. So today we are going to be moving on into what would have been our seminar for this unit because you've officially finished like chapters 1, 2, and 3. And so huge shout out to those of you that finished your writing assignments yesterday, that made your final reports. I can't wait to read them. I'm sure they are awesome. Now again, as we're moving into the seminar, obviously we are in a different situation. We will not all be sitting in a room together working on our seminar and discussing out loud. But we can still go through the evidence and you can still practice constructing a final argument, which is very important. So for us to do that, just like yesterday, the first thing I'm going to have you do is complete your PDN. So make sure you are on the correct lesson. It should say Natural Selection 4.1. There should be histograms on it, and you should be looking at a date of March 31st. So make sure, that's better, make sure that you have that and that you are ready, once again, to complete your PDN. So you're going to hit pause and hit play once you've done it. Again, no cheating. Go ahead and hit pause. All right, since you've hit play, that means that you must have already finished completing your PDN. And so we're going to go over that right now. So the question says, was there more variation in the frog population 50 generations ago or today? So in your head, I want you to think, what does variation mean? All right, you should be thinking difference. Remember, having a lot of different traits means there's a lot of variation. And so there was more variation in the frog population 50 generations ago. If we look at the histograms, we can see that 50 generations ago, there were small, medium, large, and extra large frogs. A lot of differences in size, whereas today, there's a little bit of medium and then really just large and extra large. So there's less variation today. That takes us into our next question. How did the population of frogs change over time, and why did this change occur? So you should have said that the population of frogs changed by the frogs getting larger over time. We went from having all different sizes to having really mostly large and extra large frogs. Now, why? We know that when a population changes, it's because there was probably a change in the environment. And so you should have said there was a change in the environment that made it beneficial to have a larger size. So frogs that were bigger were able to survive and reproduce more than frogs that were small, and they passed on that trait for being large to their offspring. If you have any questions about that, as always, please feel free to call me or text me, and I can help go over that as long as it is a normal time and you're not completing this once again at midnight or some other weird time. All right, please move on to the next page. The next page, you should be looking at a reading about stickleback fish. So I'm going to read this out loud and you are going to read along with me. It says, the stickleback fish in its environment. Sticklebacks are small fish. A full-grown stickleback is usually only about 5 centimeters or 2 inches long. These little fish live in 2 very different environments, the quiet lakes and ponds of Oregon and the huge Pacific Ocean. As you might guess from their name, stickleback fish have sharp spines sticking up from their backs. Unlike many other fish, sticklebacks don't have scales. Instead, they have bony plates of armor protecting their bodies. Sticklebacks can have just a few plates of armor for protection, or they can have many. And the less armor a stickleback has, the faster it swims. And then we have a couple different pictures you can look at and some captions you can be reading about the stickleback fish. So what is an advantage of having many plates of armor? Think about that in your head and look back at the text. So the advantage we should be writing down, and you should have seen in the text, is having many plates of armor allows a stickleback fish to have more protection. So you should be writing that the advantage is they have more protection. Now think in your head for number 2, and again, you can pause the video at any point if you need some more time to write. But if you're ready, think again for number 2. What is a disadvantage of having many plates of armor? Look back in the text and think about it. So I see in the text that it says less armor means it swims faster. So the disadvantage of having many plates of armor would be that it swims slower. So you can write there that the fish swims slower. Once you have that, you should be moving on to your next page. I'm going to continue to read out loud about stickleback fish, and you're going to follow along. What do sticklebacks eat? Stickleback fish may be small, but they are fierce predators. Sticklebacks catch and eat small animals such as worms, small shrimp, insect larvae, fish eggs, and young fish, including young sticklebacks. What eats sticklebacks? Predators that eat sticklebacks include other fish, birds, and a predator you might not expect, dragonflies. As adults, green darner dragonflies have thin green bodies, large eyes, and 4 transparent wings. However, these insects actually spend most of their lives underwater. They first hatch as wingless nymphs with gills for breathing underwater. Green darner dragonfly nymphs often catch and eat sticklebacks. How can an insect eat a fish? Green darners are large. The nymphs can grow up to 5 centimeters or 2 inches long, which is bigger than some fish. They are fast too. Green darner nymphs shoot jets of water out of their bodies to move quickly underwater. They also have big jaws, which they use to catch young fish, insects, and tadpoles. Sticklebacks are so small that dragonfly nymphs are one of their main predators in lakes and ponds. Another important predator of sticklebacks is the Chinook salmon. Chinook salmon hatch in rivers, but they swim out to the ocean and live most of their lives there. When they are ready to reproduce, the salmon travel back to the rivers where they first hatched. Because they live in both rivers and the ocean, Chinook salmon are comfortable in both saltwater and freshwater, just like sticklebacks. Chinook salmon are big, strong fish. They are the largest species of salmon in the western United States, weighing up to 55 kilograms or 120 pounds. These big fish eat mostly smaller fish, including little sticklebacks. Alright, so first of all, we just learned about a bunch of crazy organisms in there that I would never want to come across. But we have 2 questions for you to answer. Go ahead and answer them, hit pause, and then hit play when you are ready to hear the answers and move on. Alright, if you've hit play, that means you have answered the questions and you're ready to move on. So there are a couple different answers we could have put here, but for number 3, armor is going to be an adaptive trait when you should have written something about stickleback needing to protect themselves from predators, maybe slower moving predators. And then for number 4, an armor would be a non-adaptive trait in a situation where the stickleback need to move really, really quickly. We're moving down to the next page for introducing the seminar. So right here we have a couple different histograms. And it says, based on the histograms of how did the stickleback population change? So I want you to take a couple moments to think in your head how they changed from 13 generations ago to today. All right. You should be thinking and seeing that over time, the stickleback populations have less armor and they move much faster. So on your paper, you should be writing that they have less armor and they move much faster. So that brings us to our science seminar question. I'm going to read it out loud. The seminar question is, what caused the stickleback population to have less armor and become faster? And we have 2 claims. Claim 1, the sticklebacks have less armor so that they can escape predators. Or claim 2, the stickleback have less armor so that they can catch prey. So we're really trying to figure out here if they became faster to catch their prey or to escape predators. So in a moment, you are going to write down which claim you think is correct, just as your basic prediction. You're then going to move through the evidence cards and answer the questions. At the very end of this packet, you'll be completing your exit ticket, which is your argument for which claim is correct. This is the only day we're going to spend on this since we won't be able to, unfortunately, have our seminar. I have full trust that you'll be able to do an excellent job with this packet, and I'm very, very excited to see your different arguments. Remember that with any seminar, there is no wrong answer. I may disagree with you, I have my opinion, but as long as you use the correct evidence, you are going to get full credit for this lesson. So please call me or text me if you have questions or attend my office hours on from 1 to 1:30 p.m. daily. If you don't have any questions, just get through your packet. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Miss you all. Enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to keep washing your hands.